me wrong in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend. Cause I've heard it all before.
Strong women.
I've been down there on the floor.
Strong, very strong.
With muscles.
You look like you've been up all day, and I look like I've just got out of bed from last night.
Hello, Kate. There's a couple of people on, which is exciting.
Oh, excellent.
I am strong. I am invincible. I am woman. We like this song. Talking about woman, Kate, your little girl looked absolutely gorgeous last night in all her unicorn things. Hello, Simone. Susie. I had a choice of 2 different songs today and decided on this one. Angela, how lovely. We're going to sing one more chorus. Smile, Jenny. You're on candid camera.
Is it okay if I do a bit of dusting while we're on? This is new to me this morning because you only asked me about 2 hours ago, didn't you? To come
I am invincible. I am woman.
I am an old woman with a young mind.
You are not an old woman, most definitely not an old woman. No. You're much younger than me. So, so Kate said that there's a little girl's 7th birthday yesterday, and she said, "Oh, thank you. We do love her new look. Missing her 2 front teeth, but her rainbow nails and a rainbow skirt and everything. She looked so cute. Really, really lovely. So, hello everybody. I know there's quite a few of you on already, which is rather lovely. And how's the weather over here? Well, we've had some fabulous weather, but tonight it started raining and we had thunder and lightning, and we're going to get the next 3 or 4 days of rain. And over Sydney Harbour, you couldn't see the bridge because of the what do they call it? The burn-offs. So they're doing burning of the brush or the bush, and it creates a smoke haze over Sydney Harbour. Hello, Anne. Oh, I hope you're all out of your what do you call it? That stuff you put on yourself. Hand sanitizers.
Oh, hand sanitizer. I've got hand cream.
Anne was travelling, and she said she was covered from head to foot in hand sanitizer. I just thought that was quite funny. So hello, Anne, lovely. Carol, good to see you from England. Simone said it was thick and smoke here all night. Costa Aristu, thunder and lightning. Where? Sydney, or south of Sydney. Bella, all the coloured hearts. You're such a heart, beautiful girl. Angela, what a lovely couple of fantastic meetings right there. There you go. Okay, yes. We've come on today to have a little bit of a rant. Hello, Sandra. And it's just a few things that we've been talking about, but other people have been talking about as well. And of course, this is the beautiful Jenny Dochert, who I have had on before. And Jenny and I had the very great pleasure of working with Jenny last week. And we had 55 people online, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing, wasn't it?
It was a brilliant, brilliant evening, morning, and you couldn't have wished for greater, better, uplifting energy, and it was absolutely fabulous. An absolute
But you know what
pleasure.
was really fabulous, Jen, is the fact that those people came from all over the world.
They did.
Yeah,
they did. Even though I forgot the Egyptians and the Turkish people, but they'll forgive me for that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it was Egyptians, Turkish, a lot of English, a lot of Australians. There was an American lady that I remember, and I can't remember the others. But it was just lovely. And when you realise that you're actually reaching out to different places in the world, and you realise that, you know, years ago people used to be frightened about what we do, and now they're not. We got a great lot of people on here today. So hold on, I got a. Costa is in Ramsgate, so that is near Sydney. And Jermaine is all free of sanitizer. She says, hello, Jenny, lovely to see you.
Hello, Anne.
Yeah, hearts. Bella put all the hearts up, and there were 2 each for both of us. Angela said, beautiful ladies. Yeah, exactly. Karen Wood, hello, Karen. Lovely to see you. I'm going to get you on again. And Alan Gem Slate from West Wickham. Beautiful to see you, Alan. Simone's given us hearts. Carol says hello, Jenny, too.
Hello, Karen.
And, yeah. And we did have a myriad of different people, Bella. It was lovely. And I actually was talking to a couple of people today, and they said it was a fantastic demonstration of mediumship. But, you know, we want to talk about what goes on in the background, don't we? So when I did, oh, excuse me. So Anne's in Spain, near Alicante. Gillian is in Qatar. Renee, hello. Oh, you can't forget me, Renee. And Lorraine was on our dem and got a message from one of us the other night. So Ian's on. Hello, Ian. But he can't.
Ian. Hello, Ian.
Anyway, never mind. But hello. Okay. So when I want to go back. So when I did my SNU training, Spiritual National Union, you have to learn about chairing a service. Now, there's a whole heap of rules and regulations about chairing a service. And there is a huge, huge difference between, and there's a reason for me bringing this topic up, but there's a huge, huge difference between doing a church service for real, a live one, and doing a Zoom church service. So we've been talking about this, and the rules with the chairing in the UK is your chairperson is responsible. If you have hecklers, they get rid of them, they deal with it, or they close the service down. If you have people who are rude or abusive, you do the same. And if there is any other thing like, you know, fire, flood, whatever, you close it down as well. But the person in charge is the chairperson. Hi, Kathy, lovely to see you. So Kathy says hello to you as well, Jen.
Hi.
So, but what's happening with Zoom is there doesn't seem to be the same structure. I'm trying to think of the right word, Jen. Help me here.
Structure, discipline as well.
Discipline. Okay. So people are coming on, and when we first started doing Zoom, it was absolutely awful because people were bringing their breakfast in to the service. And you would not take your breakfast into a church. Somebody came to one of my classes and brought their breakfast in. And I said to them, you know, if you were going to a service with somebody like Paul Jacobs, who was a bit revered, oh my gosh, Janet Adams, Kate Mulligan, Bruno, so many different people. So if you were going into a workshop with the likes of Paul Jacobs, who I do hold in high esteem, you would not take your breakfast because he'd sort you out and throw you out. So there doesn't seem to be the same respect. It's almost like, oh yeah, we're just doing it online. It doesn't matter. We can do this. We can say this. It doesn't matter. But the one thing that is really griping me and Jen is when you come onto a Zoom screen and you have, so Bruno and Jermaine has just said hello to you. Molly Baker's saying hello to both of us.
Hello.
But the one thing that is getting us at the moment is people come on and you have so many black screens. So they have their name, maybe, or they just have a black screen. Now, we don't know who's behind that screen. And somebody said to me that behind the black screen, the people turned the screen on one day and the people behind the screen were actually doing something they shouldn't have been. What? So, okay, now, if you want to come onto a live service, then you've got to be seeable. I'm making my words up as I go along, but you've got to be visible. That's the word I'm looking for. You've got to be visible because we as mediums need to see your energy. I'm right on this, aren't I, Jen?
Yeah, definitely.
We need to see and we need to feel the energy of everybody on the screen. Now, it's hard enough doing this visible. Thank you, Anne. my English is rubbish tonight. But it is really important that we see you. So in a church service for real, or a dem for real, we've got real life people in the audience that we can go and poke and speak to and hug and cuddle and whatever. And it needs to be the same in a Zoom situation as well. And it's only respectful. Thank you, Ali. That's exactly what she's just said. She's come up with respect. And the people in the audience have to be respectful of the medium. And the chairperson who is hosting that meeting has to be respectful of that too. Now, please tell me to shut up when you want to, Jen, because you can talk whenever you want. But I just think that, you and I have spent many years training and doing the hard yards. So treading the boards, working our way up. And very luckily, we are now at the top of our game, along with a lot of people who are already on here tonight. But we're at the top of our game. The other thing that I would like to point out is, again, like others on here, we take the time to do these Zoom meetings and services and DEMs for free.
And the thing is when you actually go into a church, your expectations are, I'm going to walk into something absolutely wonderful here. Yeah. I'm going to really go in there and hopefully make a difference, but you expect it from those that actually come and sit. And I understand that sometimes people haven't had a very good day and maybe they're a little bit down. But, what a wonderful place to enter into if you want upliftment and if you want to have that communication and love that comes from your loved ones in spirit. But I just recently have found that when I've gone into certain places, I just have felt like, the door is not being slammed on me, but slammed on those that are making their presence felt from spirit. And I'm not quite sure if, maybe I should have a greater understanding of, people in the human, that are earthly and human, do have ups and downs, So again, like, for instance, I had a really not very good time just recently with a certain arena that I went into, and I just felt like, what on earth is the matter with the energy? And me, I work on, what I would say as quite a high level of energy, and I create that energy, and I love to bring it up, and I love to have the humor, and it does make a difference when you're making those links. But for some unknown reason, I just felt like my guys wanted to have put me into a suit of armor and go, here's your protection, you need this tonight. And I was going, no, but I'm here to work, I really want to work. But the evidence I was bringing forward was to me really interesting, really profound. But I just felt like it was going, right, we don't want it, let's throw it back at you. And I thought, well, that's not why I've given it. I've given it to you because it takes a lot for your loved ones to make their presence felt, and for myself, from my own experience, you've really got to channel the energy and get it to a level where when you're handing it over, you would like to think that person that's going to be in receipt of it would accept it. But I had one of those, and I just thought, is this just showing me something? Am I, the energy was really difficult, and I'm glad of the experience, don't get me wrong, I'm glad of the experience, because all experience is it's one of those things, experiences are gratefully in receipt of it, but not to that level where I was really having to struggle, and spirit weren't making me struggle. It was what was coming from those that were on those screens and those that weren't showing themselves. And I thought, what, I need to go and lay down in a dark room tonight. And I really came away from it feeling quite emotional, quite drained. And I thought, well, okay, I've had the experience, but tomorrow's another day. And I put it down to experience. And my philosophy in life is, if I've helped one person within that room, job well done. But there was a lovely gentleman that opened up his heart and his mind. And you know what? It was just me and him together. But everything else was like, slam the door. And I thought, no, please open them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to the other night when we did that demo. And hello, Helen. Helen Reese from Brisbane's here. Hi, Lorraine from Adelaide. There's such a lovely group of people on here tonight. It's beautiful. And it's funny because Bruno's just said, because of COVID, people think that being at home in a Zoom call, it's the same as being in a church service. But he said he remembers seeing sitters smoking and or drinking while the medium was trying to work. But you see them with their televisions on, you see them on their phone, you see them having a conversation, and they're really not that interested. All they want is a message, and I understand that. But when you have somebody that is oh my goodness, Mandy McGee, lovely. When you are doing the work for spirit, the slightest distraction makes a big, big difference. And when there's a distraction, you think, oh, what have I done? What have I said? Am I in trouble? Are they unhappy with me? And, we are sensitives. We are sensitive. And we are sensitives. So everything that is said and done in front of us, it's going to affect us really, really big time. So, I really just want people to understand. It is a long time ago since Team Mandy, a very, very long time ago. But I just want people to understand that, if you were, I'm just going back to when I worked in lives with Mandy. A long time ago, and the audience would sit there quietly. The audience wouldn't smoke or drink except have a drink of water. They wouldn't get up and down. They wouldn't swear. They wouldn't be talking to their person sitting next to them. They sat there with respect. And I believe that Zoom needs to have some sort of regulation, and maybe the people running these Zoom services need to say something. Now, we were very lucky the other night because we had Jan and Ness who were chairing for us, and you know what, it was absolutely gorgeous because we asked them to play some lively music.
You should have heard it. You should have heard it last night, because after my dire moment, I could like, where do I go? Where do I go? I thought, right, I'm going to jump onto Nash. So I jumped on, and here we go. Wait for it. Absolutely brilliant, And my energy went whoop, and I thought, that's just what I needed. But yeah, carry on with the absolutely amazing music.
I should have played that tonight, actually. I didn't even think about it, but maybe I'll see if I can find it in a minute. But they played My Old Man's a Dustman. And I don't know if any of you know that, but it's My Old Man's a Dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, he wears gold trousers, and he lives in the council flat. And it is just so, so funny. And everybody was just rocking about, laughing and dancing. Some people didn't understand the terminology, but, we did. Lonnie Donegan, all those years ago. But they lifted the vibration, and they monitored that meeting for us really, really well, didn't they? So 55 people, and they had control of it all. But I still think, that some people, Ian's on. Hello, Ian. But I still think that people need to be more mindful of the work that we do. And if you don't want to be there, don't be there. Don't go on. So, and Jermaine has just written something here, and she said that sometimes with the lack of respect on the screen during Zoom and Facebook services and events, it makes me feel as if people have no respect for their loved ones. And we're not a bleep sideshow in the fairground. That is very right, because we have a great job to do. We have a great responsibility, and we actually take that responsibility extremely seriously. Now, I know that there's a lot of mediums on here. There is a lot of my students on here and a lot of other students. But, when you run a church service, you have that discipline. When you run a Zoom service, they should have the same discipline. And when people come on, one of my friends does trance classes, Glenn, and he said if anybody comes on and they have a blank screen, he deletes them straight away. And I think that's what we should be doing, because it's just, why are they there? There was one lady, for instance, this is a couple of months back now, and the medium was trying and trying and trying, and nobody was accepting the information. And after about, 10 minutes of keep going, one of the ladies that was on blacked out screen came on and said, that message is for me. So afterwards I said to her, why did you have a blank screen? I was on a phone call.
Not acceptable.
How rude.
Extremely. But the same thing happened to me, and it was actually when we were able to actually go into church. So I won't mention the church, but I went in full of, I'm really ready to serve, and I stood up on the platform, and when my demonstration began, I just felt like I was looking out into a sea of, there was like nobody there. It was like, as I was giving out, the evidence and the proof of their loved one survival, it was just like there was nothing coming back at me. And I really found that quite soul destroying, because I was really trying hard, and I was really, and the link was fine. It's just that it wasn't being accepted. And after feeling like I'd been ripped to shreds and feeling quite downcast about it, I went and sat in my car before the journey home. And it was quite a long journey, actually. And that's another thing that a lot of people don't really understand. And the mediums that are actually on here this morning will understand that, you drive miles, and sometimes when you do those journeys, people are forgetting that you've got that long journey home. And, it's like lights off, you finish now, off you go. And then, but anyway, coming back to what I was saying, I sat in my car and I had a little bit of a chat with my guys, and I just said, in just simple, what on earth happened there? And what I got in response to that was, we were there for them, but they chose to ignore us. Yeah. And I thought, right, start up the car, let's go home. And I thought, I went and did what I was meant to do, but it's not up to me how they respond. It's up to them how they respond, because it is a three-way link that we have going here. Exactly. It's not just me and spirit, it's about those that are in the audience congregation. And over the years, it hasn't happened to me very often, but when it does, it just really knocks me sideways. And I don't particularly want to feel that way. No. But I understand that I have to also understand and learn that not everybody out there opens up their hearts and their minds to what we need to be in receipt from them. Not everybody has that, but I'm sure within each and every one of them there is a little spark of light that they could share, and I just think sometimes that maybe some people aren't quite ready. They come in to the churches, they sit down and they're inquisitive, or they're not quite ready, but they're just putting their toe in the water. But some of them are the ones that have been there for years and years and years. And another, I've had a couple of months quite close to me. And you know what I'm like, Val, I'm really shoot at the hip sometimes, and I know I shouldn't, but it doesn't make me any less spiritual.
That's what we love about you, Jen.
Yeah, I understand that, and I know, but I do have a serious side, and I do have lines that I do step up. I really struggle to stay on the right side of it, but people know me. But I went into this church, and again, it was like, I just thought, why are you here? But I just came out with something really, really not so good. And I thought, oh my God, they're not going to invite me back. But I tell you what I said, and I will not repeat, raise the vibration. Raise the vibration. And I thought, well, if that's what I've got to do, that's what I've got to do. It doesn't make me any less spiritual, but people don't really get the fact that, it takes a lot to link with spirit. You put yourself into a place that is extremely sensitive. You put yourself forward, and as you say, we just want a little bit of respect, because we're committed and we're dedicated, and we go miles. We're up against it. You lose your way. I've ended up down dirt tracks. I'm thinking, how do I get out of here? And I've had moments when I've entered into church with 5 minutes to spare, and they go, well, at least you got here. Yeah. And I said, I'll stay and I'll work. So again, for us, having a greater understanding of why people come in and why they choose to be that way, please don't be that way. Just come in and have a little bit of respect for those that are giving up their time, which is fine. I have no problem.
And again, I will repeat, if you don't want to be there, don't come in.
Don't, precisely.
And it's like, I've had hecklers on here, and I've had to delete them. And you think, oh, for goodness sake. But Anne said she did a church service the other night. There was 150 people in the congregation from all over the world, so it must have been on Zoom, and not one person was disrespectful. Well, you're lucky, Anne. Karen has just said that, Karen Wood, when she first started to work on Zoom, the screens were moving around when the cameras are switched off, and it distracted her. During the
it happened last night.
Yeah. Brett Thomas, hello Brett, thank you for being on.
Hi, Brett.
He said it's such a rewarding gift, and it takes years of honing your skills. Yes. We deal with people's emotions, and we link the both sides of the veil. The medium and our loved ones deserve the utmost respect.
Precisely.
Absolutely. Well said, Brett.
Precisely.
So, and Anne said in response to your distances we drive, she's driven 3 hours there and back. And I know I've done the same, especially over here in Australia, because the churches are so far away. You end up having to do a lot of driving. And people don't take that into consideration.
Yeah, because when they're tucked up in bed, you're still on the road.
That's right. And what they also don't take into consideration is we don't get paid the remuneration for that use of petrol and our time either. In fact, we probably don't get remunerated for the time in the hour-and-a-half service, which, again, I think is disrespectful. And people need to, let's bring this all into the 21st century. We're not in the dark days where, and you come to get your money. And this has happened to me in churches. They give you an envelope with your money in, which is next to nothing, and they do it behind their back because they don't want to be seen to be giving you an envelope with money in. What is that about?
I must admit, like, I have had a couple of moments when I have been offered a fee, and I did decline, and that's for me to do.
That's your choice, yeah.
That is my choice. But it was nice of them to offer, So again, it's my choice to say no, but. And as you're saying, when you do those miles and and you're traveling miles, and then you look in your envelope. I asked for a very small fee once, and I didn't even bother looking in the envelope. And when I got home, there was only half of it in there, and I just thought, well, that's fine, that's okay. Well, it wasn't really, but
But coming back to Zoom, what I'm finding now, and you and I have had this discussion, because there's been so much free stuff. People are not wanting to pay. Well, there's got to be a time where, and people say, oh, you shouldn't be paid for this, it's a gift. This is my full-time occupation.
Yeah.
This is your full-time occupation. We don't have anything else that's going to help us pay our bills. And people need to understand that. You call out a plumber, you pay their call-out charge.
Yeah.
You call us out, we're giving you a service, you pay our charges as well. So Bruno says he's had people screaming at their kids during the service, and then one sitter interrupting a medium to say, that message is for me. Oh dear. So
I had a touch of that recently, and it was very much like, but the evidence I was endeavouring to give this lady, and I understand, people have their children, and people and children do scream and shout, but honestly, please, not while there's maybe 50 others on our little blankety blank screens and our celebrity squares, so to speak. But but people don't always think, do they? They just think that they can't be heard. They're not being heard if they're on mute. But you can hear, when you're giving them a message, linking with them, and they're unmuted.
Yeah,
you can't hear everything. So it's there's a lot I think that needs to be ironed out with it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to go back to doing proper services. And I know Brett Thomas, I know you're on here, Brett. Brett's got his first in the hall demonstration tomorrow with Loretta Byrne, and she's a great medium. She really is, and we're really excited about going to the hall and doing that. But he's excuse me, he is going to be doing still once a month online, because that then gives us the opportunity to have people from the UK like yourself, Jenny, that people here wouldn't get the opportunity to see. So, that is wonderful. So it's getting a balance, but we still need to, oh gosh, hello, Danina. We got so many different people on here. Julie Day, we love you too. Julie said she loves you both.
That's fabulous, thank you.
Joanne from over in, oh my gosh, it's Paringa, and that is on the Murray-Darling Basin, which is way out in the country. And she's one of my students as well. But yeah, we've got to go back to hello, Kim. Kim says hello. Yeah. Bruno said that he saw it happen to me in a church where, oh yeah, that's for me. And no, it's not for Karen. Anyway, but it's really, really hard. So Brett has just said here, to drive across Sydney tolls can be around $40, let alone the petrol. And the churches need to understand that mediums have different financial situations, and it may be not okay to be out of pocket by $40. It's funny, I've actually approached churches here and they said, oh, well, we've never paid anybody. And I said, well, maybe you should think about it. And they said, well, this is your practice ground. You know, we've been how many years you been doing this, Jen? I've been doing this.
I've been serving a long time now, and but going on about tolls, this will really make you chuckle. There was a bridge, and it must have been about 10 foot long, and you paid 5p to get over it. But I'll tell you what, for the amount of cars that went over it, all those little 5p's kept to make that. It was like a little bit of history you were going over.
Yeah.
And I think, I didn't mind putting that 5p in, but it's a different story altogether when, and I know, what the tolls are like in Australia. And we have, not that I travel that far up north yet, but yeah, you do have. And I think, churches have to be fair as well. They have to be fair, because without the medium and the congregation, they wouldn't have a service.
It's funny. So Sharon, hi. Sue Moore says it's a working medium. I agree, ladies. Yeah, practice ground. And I in the first year maybe, but not after 45 years. Well, you're 45 years. I'm 30 years. Jen, you're not far off.
I'm not far off.
Again, it's that respect thing, and we've spent so many hours and blood, sweat and tears and the courses and the money, and people need to, this is what I get so cross about, people need to realize that and be mindful of that. A plumber does his papers and he does his certificates and city and guilds and whatever. A doctor has to train for 7 years. I'm still training after 30 years. I'm still training. Karen will agree. Anne will agree. Brett's on here, he will agree. And if you don't do it for a while, your confidence goes down. And then you get idiots like, that we've been talking about. And it's so, it's demoralizing. It really is demoralizing, because you think, why am I doing this? I know many years ago, and I've mentioned this before, but many years ago, I nearly walked away from this work about 5 times because of the attitude of the people within the churches that I worked in. And I thought, you know what? You get trained, they get you up there, and then they go bang.
I was having this discussion with somebody quite close to me last night, and I said, it can be quite demoralizing when, and I understand that, I've put myself on that platform, but it's the reason why I've put myself on that platform. I put that on myself on that platform with my own personal responsibility and hopefully a bit more integrity than some people say I've got. But that's just Jenny Docherty, but I also feel that, there's a sea of faces that are looking at you, and there's a lot of expectation. And the thing is, at this moment, there's certain things that are going on where you could have 60 people in a congregation and the medium is expected to give every one of those. Well, for me, I respect my energy is my energy, and I'm not a robot. And if I go to certain people and those links are there to be handed over, I will give them. But it doesn't mean to say because a loved one's linked for someone in the audience who hasn't been in receipt of a message, it's not about them being excluded. I'm not conditioned to get around 60 people because I'd have a head like a rock the next day. But it's getting now that some people are expecting you to actually go around every single individual in that audience and just, give them a 2-minute reading. No. Doesn't work that way, and so again, I'm slowly but surely, I've dipped my toe into it. I must admit, I've dipped my toe into it and had a good look, but my gut feeling is this is not for me. This is not what I want to do. And I'm not going to be, it's kind of disrespected in that way, because I have watched some of these and I've looked at the medium and the head is going down and down and down. But when your energy starts, I know exactly when my guides are saying, right, it's enough, done, you're done.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm being looked after. And so, again, for the experience that I had recently where it was pretty, and I would say, and I'm going to say this quite openly, awful. I thought, well, yeah, I've had to experience that to know just exactly that there are different energies and there are different, people out there that aren't really there for the right reasons. So, again, sometimes you have to experience these things to know what is.
Yeah, Kim's just said that it doesn't work like that, and no one knows how long a message is going to take. But we were taught, and I was taught, a rule of thumb: the message should not be longer than 7 minutes. Don't ask me why they come up with the 7 minutes.
These were 7 hours. Trust me, they were there for weeks.
I know. Well, I watched a Medium on platform the other night, and all her messages were 23, 21, 20. That's a private message, a private reading for somebody in a public environment, and that's not right. But you cannot be expected with 60 people to do 60 messages, and I know that that people have been doing that, and that's so. I always say to people that not everybody's going to get a message, but please take something from the messages that you hear. And look, years ago, when you used to have small audiences in a church, you could go to everybody in the audience if there was 10 or 15 people. But now, when you've got a bigger audience, you can't do that. And 60 people, it's just not right. There's a couple of comments that have been made up here. Julie said a lot of churches need change. Yes, they do. Anne has just said we never stop learning, and her students are her tutors on many occasions. I agree, Anne. I was working yesterday with my lovely, he's not a student anymore because he's now a medium in his own right, and he was on platform, and he was so nervous because he hasn't done this for a whole year because of COVID. So I said, come on. And he was supposed to be working with Kathy, another student medium, and she was sick. So I said, come on, I'll do it with you. And I watched him, and he was wringing his hands. And I said to him today, I thought you were going to pull your fingers off because you were so nervous. But he went, and it was really great because he didn't deliberate. He just said, I've got a man. He says he's uncle. The names Jeffrey and John associate with him. He had such and such illness. And can anybody understand that? And the lady said, yeah, that's my uncle. And so he said, and was his name so? Yes. And was his this? And was he, did he have this illness? Yes. And he went straight into the message, no messing around. And that's what we can do if we do it correctly. But when you see these people who are so flowery and fluffy, and they bring in Uncle Tom Cobley and all, and you get Auntie Maud and Uncle this and Grandma that, you only need to do one person because an evidential medium is to prove that our loved ones are there. And if we bring that right information through, the correct information through, then that's what we can do. So hold on. Yes. Kim's saying we're both wonderful mediums. Thank you for that. Yeah, Ian has just said, once you're at the top, you're an easy target. And I agree. I've seen people like Colin Fry, years ago, and somebody said, it's a long way up, but it's also a long way down.
Keep your feet on the floor. Keep your feet on the floor.
And Anne said, we are humans, and we cannot give everyone a message. I've just lost a thing, and it's turning into a fairground, like a fairground exhibit. And Anne says that her guides now close the door, and the end is the end. And that's what I did, or I've done recently. Just go, that's it. I've done my however many messages and just stop. Brett says that divine services should include a demonstration to provide the survival of spirit, healing, and philosophy. It's not a paid mediumship show. There's the difference between a divine service, and we are doing divine services online, and we're still not getting that that respect thing. And Ali said it's a demonstration, not a reading. Not a full blown. So we're creating group guidelines, and then people have to agree to a T and C. If they don't comply, they're removed. I think that's a good idea. If I do, I'll let you talk in a minute, Jen. If I do a private group reading at home, in somebody's home, they have rules, and it's no alcohol, no food. I go in at a certain time, my money is collected before I get there, and then it is handed to me in an envelope or whatever at the end. And then that's it. And if it's not done that way, and this has happened to me in the past, somebody, I was in Israel, and somebody said, what a load of bullshit this was, and excuse my French. And she got up and walked out. So I got up and walked out. and I was actually staying in the home where I was, and I actually said to, I went in the other room, and they calmed this lady down and brought her back in, and then they said, "Oh, she's okay now. Will you come back?" And I said, "No."
No.
I said, that is totally disrespectful of me and what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. I'm working with the disability of a language barrier. I'm working with a translator. And I said, no. And yeah, she didn't like it and the family didn't like it. And I said, I value myself and I'm not going to do it.
I want to touch upon something else that I was asked if I do, and it was YouTube, FaceTime, a bit like this, but doing a demonstration. And I put my toe in and I had a good look to just see how it worked. And I thought, no, this isn't for me, because you're giving out information and you've got 3 or 4, 5, 6 people taking the information, and it's scrolling up and in the end I could just see that, you know, it was toing and froing and you weren't exactly with one person and the information was changing, and so many people coming on and saying, I can take that, and then you're going to have to sort it all out. So I just politely said, because I did say, we did say we were going to do it, and then time for you, Val, is different to what it is here. And so I took that conscious decision to say, I hope you don't mind, but I don't particularly want to work that way. So came back to me and said, well, would you do a Zoom meeting? And I said, yes, I'd be quite happy to do that, because I can see who I'm working with. I can, you know, hear the voice. But I've got nothing against anybody that wants to work that way. It's just not for me. I just found it quite difficult to keep myself going with everybody scrolling up and saying, have you got anything for me? Is my nan there? Is my granddad there? And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. So again, you know, but no disrespect to those that want to do that and are happy to do that, because it's their choice. So, but it's not for me. So I've had some really, last week, I've had some really, really wonderful uplifting moments, but I've also at the other end of the scale had a moment when I thought, you know, please don't allow this to affect you, Jen, because out of every 1,000 people that you meet, there might be one that doesn't particularly get you. Don't focus on that one, focus on the other, you know. And that happened to me once when I was serving at Bognor Regis, not at the church, but at the Regis Centre. And it was in my early days. I had 200 people in the audience, which was lovely. 2 people didn't like it. And I just went, oh, crikey, I'm going to focus on those 2. And I thought, no, focus on the other 198 that did enjoy it. And so again, you've got these little, it's like one bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bunch, so to speak.
That's right. There's lots of people here agreeing with what we're saying, Jen. And a lot of them are mediums, and a lot of them are students as well. So Sarah Warman said to say hello to you.
Oh, I love Sarah. Sarah is one of the most wonderful, sweetest, loveliest pink lady you'll ever meet, because Sarah will always say, you know, and I hope Sarah doesn't mind if I say this, because she'll often message me and she'll go, was that all right? And I'm going, yeah, brilliant. And she said, I'm open to any advice you can give me, Jen. She said, you know, because I always remember when you had those drunks in Bognor Regis Church. And she said, I think these people had been to a wake and they'd come into the church and they were giving it large, and they were really sort of, you could tell they'd been on the vino. And she said, you handled them beautifully, you know. So they were obviously there. Okay, they were drunk. Maybe they should have been asked to leave, but they weren't really being disruptive. They were being merry. If they'd have been disruptive and were going, oh, see you, get out of here, you know, you're this, that, and the other, you know, then, because it's not fair on everybody else that is in the congregation. But Sarah reminded me of that, and it did bring a smile to my face. So, you know, if people come in and, you know, they're a bit worse for wear, if they're sitting there and, you know, and not making a fuss, you know, who am I to say, get out, you know, because they've as much as right to be in there, maybe minus that type of spirit, because the spirit is judged for a certain kind of spirit. But it was just one of those moments, and I just thought, handled it well, But yeah, I love Sarah. Sarah's a lovely lady.
It's funny because you've just reminded me. I did a mediumship demonstration in a theatre in Northern Ireland, and there was a heckler in the audience, and he went, "Oh, anybody can take a Mary, anybody can take this, and anybody, you can say this about anybody." And I said, "You know, do you mind?" I said, "With due respect," I said, "You've paid your money." He said, "Oh, I got a free ticket." I said, "Well," I said, "that's fine." I said, "But everybody else has paid their money. Please, can you be respectful?" And this guy turned around and he just shut up for a minute. And then I kept going, and he just started off again. So I said, "Look, I'm going to just ask you to leave." The person that was hosting the evening for me didn't, so I had to ask him to leave. And luckily enough, he got up and walked out, to which I got a round of applause with the way I dealt with it. Anyway, when he'd gone, I carried on doing the demonstration, and it was fantastic. Everybody was so happy. But a couple of days later, the man left a message on my answer phone and said, "I'm really sorry. I was a journalist." And he said, "I thought you were somebody else that was famous, who had just caused a huge ruckus in the newspapers, right across the British newspapers. And he thought I was her." And he said, "I am so sorry to have done that to you." And I would have loved to have been able to speak to him in person, but I wasn't able to. But
isn't that wonderful that he came back and had accepted within himself that he made that error, but had the decency to come back to you and say, "Look, I wholeheartedly apologise to you."
Because
coming back, sorry, Val.
I was just going to say, if we're in Northern Ireland, lots of people are called Mary and Margaret. So, you know.
Yeah, and but Colin Fry, bless him. I mean, I did work with Colin on numerous occasions, and Colin had it really down to a T. He'd always say before he began his demonstration, "If there is anybody here that isn't here for the right reason, there's the exit."
Yeah.
And so again, don't spoil it for those that are there for, you know, genuine reasons, you know. But we are up against it at the moment, but you know, these are different times, and I'm really truly grateful for Zoom in many ways, because it has given me more opportunities than I would have otherwise had. So again, it's lovely when people do come on and they're extremely appreciative of what isn't the easiest thing to do. You know, channeling that energy, and that energy sometimes could be stronger, it can be a little bit lower, and you have to adapt to that. And so again, it isn't easy. And for anybody who says, "Oh, it's a walk in the park," no, I'm afraid it's not. I walk in the park and I just think, "Oh, it's quite nice to walk in the park." Sometimes when you're working with spirit, you know, and especially if the individual that you're going to isn't being, can I say, as receptive, you know, I just have to leave it with them, you know. I mean, for instance, for example, last night I did have energy coming forward, and he passed away on a golf course, and the lady could take it, but then all of a sudden she thought, "Oh, well, that's all I need to know." But she wasn't prepared to sit and listen and take anything else. It's kind of, she shut the door. As soon as she knew it was him, "I know him, that's it, go." And but it was unfair because there was so much more I could have given her.
Yeah.
But if that link is broken by that, then there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my friends has put on here that the man in the Irish audience probably just wanted a date.
Precisely. We've all had a few of them, Val, haven't we?
yeah. But I wanted to say, though, it's really frustrating sometimes when you're giving information in the audience. And I've got to the point now where I give information and the audience person's going, "Oh, no. And I know I'm right. I know spirit is right." And I say, "Look, I'm going to leave it with you, and I'm just going to keep going," which I do, because I've learned to do that. And then you get a message from them on email later, or they come up to you afterwards and say, "Oh, yeah, that was so-and-so, so-and-so." And you think, you just want to go up and slap them.
Yeah, but the thing is, I end up with a red face and end up in A&E, and that's not good either. Well, how did you get that slap on your face? "Oh, I got it from spirit." Really? So again, it's just interesting. But I understand where you're coming from, Val, because it was an example on Wednesday of one of your links you were trying to get. But I thought this was quite interesting because it went from there to there to there. And you said, "Well, as soon as I'd reached the destination with it," you went through 2 or 3 other people to get there, but you got there. And you said, "Blimey, the energy's just lifted now." So it was just something that maybe, you know, we all learn as well, don't we? You know, goodness me, I had that last night, but that's yesterday. Today's today. Let's just be positive. And so again, it's just an example of just what it takes to get the energy to where it needs to be. And
That's
for
right.
me, I'm very able to, can I say, if the energy is a little bit lower, I have to either go down to that level or I just lift it up. And the way that I lift it up is just putting something in that could be quite funny.
But talking about that, that particular message that I did, I gave really specific information. I've got a healer. Yeah. I've got Michael and Jackson, as in Michael Jackson Heal the World. Yeah. Everybody on here knows that's my favorite song, which we will play afterwards. So healer, Michael Jackson, a nurse, and a young man in spirit. So one lady wanted to take that information, but she only wanted to take a part of it.
Yeah.
And then, so she tried to draw me in there, and I'm not trying to justify what I did, but she tried to draw me in, and I thought, no, that's not right. Yeah, and then somebody else tried to do the same. So, and then eventually, I got to the right person, and I was told, well, the Michael and the Jackson don't associate with the nurse man. I said, I don't care, but the names of Michael and Jackson mean something to you. And he was a nurse, and he's in spirit. Yeah. And you think, oh,
but it just goes to show how you're kind of having to go through all that different energy, and all those different energy waves are all different, you know. And sometimes it can be like kind of going like through a storm. It's kind of, you're trying to find your way, you're trying to get that balance, and you wish the waves would go away, and you just wish it was a bit more like a mill pond and straightforward.
And I'm going to mention again Paul Jacobs, because he says, and I do have a lot of respect for him, but he says, if you're going to accept the message, you've got to be able to, or the evidence, you've got to be able to accept all the evidence, not just a bit of it, it's all the evidence. And I totally get that. So that's why it was so frustrating the other night when it was just not being accepted. Yeah, message hijackers or sitters amnesia.
Shall I tell you what? That's just made me think of a lovely lady in spirit, and I think a lot of mediums on here, and maybe, you know, those that are just taking part as well. Dot Wardrop, amazing. And I'll never forget when I went to Wokingham Church, she'd be stood on the step waiting to meet and greet, which I think is wonderful. And she'd go, "Body snatchers are in tonight." And I'm going, what? Because I'm new at this, and I'm thinking, right, body snatchers are in tonight. And I'm going, so I went in there with this vision of people ready there with their claws going, snatching that, snatching that, and snatching that. And no, what she was saying is they were the message robbers, so to speak. Well, that's what I'm saying. And so again, you know, but some of those things when I look back, and some of those words that were spoken to me when I look back, really make me smile, really make me, you know, think of that lovely spiritual lady who more often than not put me at ease with certain things. But I'll tell you what, when she turned around and said the body snatchers are in, I just didn't know what I was walking into.
Well, it's funny because we call them message hoggers, and of course I teach online, and it is so funny because I know after being in this work for 30 odd years, I know so many people who've died. So I'm usually a message hogger, and then the students are going, "We're a better message hogger than you. We're a senior message hogger," and you know, and it's just hysterical. But we have a lot of fun with the classes, which is absolutely wonderful. So Ali has just made comment and said message hogger. Julie has just said we should have a course in how to be a good sitter. Body snatchers, message hoggers. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it just lightens, it just brightens your day, and I just think this is obviously meant to be for me this morning, because I don't find doing this kind of thing very easy, because I was once told that I haven't got a face for camera, and I did say once, well, that wasn't my face you were looking at, love. So again, so I just kind of quick Jenny Dochert straight in there, and I thought, how dare you say that about me? I'm a beautiful woman. I might have, you know, a gap between my teeth, but it doesn't stop me being spiritual. I've got my hair up in a bun today, and I'm thinking, at 63, Jen, should you be wearing your hair up in a bun? I thought, well, I've just got to get ready to sit with Valerie this morning and you know, maybe enlighten a few people.
Actually, and yes, this has lifted your spirit, I know, and you needed that. And we all need to lift our spirit, but we all need to realize that, you know, what you and I have to go through to do this work is not easy. And how dare somebody say you haven't got a face fit for a camera? Another one, I just want to go and slap them.
But the thing is, Val, a lot of people, they seem to forget that, you know, we're human beings as well, you know, and I wish that I was a little bit more highly evolved and I could just go to somebody and say, right, I've got, for instance, example, I've got Mr. Smith here, right? He was a tambourine player and he lived at 65 the Grange and he was born in 1945 and he had size 15 feet. And I'm thinking, if I had size 15 feet, I'd get some help. But anyway,
Jen, so let me stop you there, because the other night when you did the demonstration, you had names that were the most bizarre, weird, and the person's going, yes, and she's on here. One of the ladies is on here tonight. She's yes. And it was just amazing, the information. So please don't knock yourself. You really are.
I think it's just
outstanding medium.
Yeah, I thank you for that. And I mean, and you know, and nobody's given it to me, Val. I've had to work hard for it.
Brett says he wish he could put his hair in a bun. And
well, tell him I'll send him some of my armpit hair. He can shove that on.
Simone, you're making me cough. Simone's just said you look like Pebbles from Flintstones, you know, with the hair on the top. Sharon's just said we've made her morning. Or buy a comb. Annette said that towards Brett, because that's his sister. I wish I could put my head in a... And Brett said, I wish I could put my head in a bun.
I'll tell you what, tell Brett I'm going to knit him. Well, he can hear me, can't he? Tell him I'm going to knit him a wig.
I saw a photograph of Brett the other day with a wig on and he looked hysterical.
Oh, well, there you go then, spirit working.
Anyway, look, okay, Jen, I just want to tell you from me, and I know you've said to me in the past, you know, you've worked with various mediums and they don't like working with you because of various things. I adore working with you. I am your #1 fan. I know Brett is one of your #1 fans. And I think that, you know, please don't take what people say. I've learned to put a thick skin around me and it still gets to me, but you've got to believe that you're doing the most amazing work for Spirit. And I know anybody that knows you and who's seen you work will absolutely, I'm going to make her cry, but everybody, you are going to make me cry. Everybody would agree. And, you know, to do the mediumship that you did the other night, Jen, that was just, I was sitting there with my jaw on the floor again. So, and that's what I did the first time I ever worked with you. So you are a very, very special medium. You've got that beautiful personality, which you bring out in your messages. And it's better than saying, I've got your dad. He tells me this, he tells me that. It is really, really important to make people laugh, especially in this day and age, because we do need that upliftment. And look, we're seeing the vulnerability of this beautiful lady here. And I'm really glad, Jen, that you've showed that, because at the end of the day, we're just normal human beings. And we are affected by anything and everything that's said to us. And yes, we're in a difficult position with the jobs that we do, but we're still doing it, you know.
The thing is as well, you know, as much as things do get me down, do you know what? Times like this make me even stronger. I come back and you know what I'm like, I won't be beaten by anything. But people have to understand that, yeah, we are super sensitives, you know, and especially when the full moon's in your face. Well, I wish it. Well, I hope it was the full moon that was in my face. So again, it was just, it's just one of those things that, you know, I've got to accept that not everybody is going to get you, is not going to like you, but you know, the amount of people that do have respect and enjoy my work, I just say heartfelt thanks to them, because not only does it make a difference from me to them, from them to me, is wonderful.
Yeah,
and I thank each and every one, and then thank you for sitting with me at 1:30 this morning, helping me to get through things, and for Ian as well. Ian is always there, and Jan and Ness, and a few others. I've got some amazing friends. But yeah, you know, just stop and think about, you know, we are sensitives, but it's a good type of sensitive.
We've got to be there for one another. We've got to support one another. I'm extremely lucky with the students that I've got, because, you know, when it comes to healing and somebody's got a shout out, everybody does it. They all support one another in so many ways. And okay, we're coming to the end. And for me, the healing part of the work that we do is vital. And I've seen, because of this beautiful support and healing, the response. Ali's on here, and Ali will vouch for this. Her lovely partner has been very sick, And, you know, the work that we've done with the healing has worked. Ian said, because you, by the way, Jen. So we know that the healing works. But I don't want to do Michael Jackson tonight, but I want you to send, all of you, send the love out to the world with laughter. Okay? And tonight we're going to do something different. I feel like saying, and Matthew, tonight I'm going to be
Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
Okay, we're going to just have a laugh here.
About an unsung hero that moves away a dust.
And we want you all to join in with healing energy and laughter.
Yeah, and some actions if you want.
And you've got to sing.
My old man don't earn much. In fact, he's flipping
skint. Come on, join in.
Oh, my old man's a dustman. He wears a dustman's hat. He wears full climbing trousers. And he lives in a council flat. He looks a proper nana in his great big hobnail boots. He's got such a job to pull them up that he calls them daisy roots.
See, some people don't understand what these words mean. Healing energy, laughter is the best medicine.
Now one old man got nasty and to the council road. Next time my old man went round there, he punched him up the throat.
Oh, my old man's a dustman. He wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold blimey trousers.
And he lives in a council flat.
I always forget.
I found a police dog in my dustbin. Well, how do you know he's a police dog? He had a policeman with him. Though my old man's a dustman.
One more chorus and then we'll stop.
He got married recently.
You guys are amazing. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Oh,
thank
you.
He said, well, when my age, it helps to pass the time.
My old man's a dustman. He wears a dustman's hat. He wears gold trousers. And he lives in a council flat.
My dustbin's full of lilies. Well, throw them away then. I can't believe wearing them.
It's funny. I thank you all for being on here tonight. There's an awful lot of you, and there's been some beautiful comments and the lovely upliftment, which we both needed, Jen. And that's come from so many people. So that's been really, really wonderful. And you know what? And I will send this message out to every one of you. If you need me and Jen, we're there to help you, because that's the work that we do. It's not about giving you a reading. If you need, I feel really sad today, well, let's talk to you for 5 minutes and uplift your spirits. So we would do that, and we do that for each other, because I think it's important to do that for each other, isn't it? Sometimes we don't know who to turn to. So, but I thank you all for tonight. Tonight has been very special. We've crossed a few lines, but I think it's important that we have crossed those lines.
The thing is, Val, what you've got to remember also is that we do say what a lot of people are actually thinking. And it's okay.
Because we're not frightened to speak out.
Yeah, it's okay to speak out. And we haven't been rude or disrespectful to anybody. We've just shared a few experiences of how we feel. And it's just to let people know that even though you do have a few knocks, you know, the highs outweigh the knocks.
Yeah.
The good times outweigh all of those. So, you know, just focus, and especially for your students, you know, they've got to know that they've got a brilliant teacher.
Yeah. But I thank you for that. But I want to say to you, we need mediumship with fun and laughter. It's so important, because, you know, our loved ones, when they die, they don't lose their sense of humour. We've got to be able to bring that through. And I listen to you sometimes and my jaw is on the floor and I'm thinking, I can't believe you've just said that. But, you know, you are one special lady and a very, very, very accurate medium. And I know everybody that's seen you will agree with that. I've never seen you do a duff mediumship. We've got some funny noise going on here, but never mind. But it's been an absolute pleasure sharing tonight with you, and sharing with everybody else, and helping people to understand what we have to go through to make this possible for everybody out there. I'm not going to stop not in a million years. I've been told I'm going to be in my 90s when I die, and I'm going to keep doing this until that day, because I love with a passion what I do. And I know for a fact, Jenny, you're exactly the same. So keep doing what you do, because you raise people's spirits, you raise people's happiness, you heal, and you give those wonderful connections from the loved ones in the spirit world. And I know from everybody and from me, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're very, and thank you, and thank you back, because if it wasn't for you, Val, I wouldn't have met half the people that I have met in Australia, you know, because it's a real blessing. And it's lovely that we're able to spread that joy and make those connections. And there is some good elements of online. There are some good elements to social media. They're there if they're used correctly. But we're seeing that it's not, but that's for them. And if we just keep doing it the way that we're doing it, that's fine.
We over here are looking forward to you coming back to Australia. Can't wait. And because of all this stuff online, we will have bigger audiences, which is great. So your name has now gone out far and wide, and we're really, really looking forward to that. So I want to say thank you to everybody on here for being here tonight. It's uplifted me, that's for sure. I know I get a bit hot under the collar sometimes with certain things, and I know you do, Jen, but you know, Jen needed lifting spirits today. We've done that, and so we thank everybody for being here.
Thank you so very much for inviting me, Val.
Yeah, and we'll see you soon, because we've got you on, I can't remember, is it June in Brett's church?
July, is it June or July sometime?
July. So I'm going to bring you on in July to do a live before we do Brett's service. So then we can get a bigger audience into Brett's service. So that's the 20th of July, and all the information will go out. So everybody will see it. So please keep an eye on what's going on my Facebook page. And I know we've already finished, but never mind, I'm going to put this up anyway. I should have done it earlier, but everybody knows me and where I am. So valhood.com, that's my email and my website. So if you need any help on anything, ask. And if we can do anything, both Jenny and myself, please let us know. But yeah.
Can I just say one thing before we shut off, Val? Can I just thank everybody for being so kind and for being in my life, because I wouldn't be who I am without them. So I'm really appreciative of everybody that comes into my life.
And we're blessed to have you in our lives, Jenny. You've been a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have. You've been a breath of fresh air. But I'm going to shut down now. But we've sent out all that lovely healing energy with that laughter and that silly song. Great song. But I think maybe we've just given people a bit of a glimpse into what this life is like for us. And maybe people will think twice. And maybe we should set the rules about, you know, if we're doing a Zoom demonstration with somebody, we should set those rules. I know Brisbane Church, Helen Reese was on here earlier on. They are so strict. They are absolutely so strict with what they do and don't do. Yeah. And it works both ways, according to Ian. Thank you, Ian. Thank you all. Okay, I will shut everybody down, and we'll see you next week. Who have I got on next week? Let me know. Let me let you know. I have got a couple of students on next week, because I want you as an audience to understand a student's perspective to mediumship, and the way it works, and how the difficulties they've had, and different teachers, and how they respond to different teachers. So I'm going to be doing that a couple of times, and I think that's going to be important as well. So please join me next week when I know I've got 5 of my students who are coming to talk to you all. So
fabulous.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank everybody for being on here. Okay. All right. Lots of love to everybody.
Bye.
Take care. Be safe.
Bye-bye.